expectation for on the subject of Iran and the negotiations tomorrow, and your own plans in terms of Middle East and Israel? What should we be looking for next? What are you expecting next?
Well, I think tomorrow Steve and Jared will be there. I think they're on their way there now, actually. And the President was very clear last night that he always prefers diplomacy. But I want you to understand, and everyone should know, that Iran poses a very grave threat to the United States and has for a very long time. They are in possession, first and foremost, after their nuclear program was obliterated, they were told not to try to restart it, and here they are. You can see them always trying to rebuild elements of it. They're not enriching right now, but they're trying to get to the point where they ultimately can. The other thing I would point you to, however, is that Iran possesses a very large number of ballistic missiles, particularly short-range ballistic missiles, that threaten the United States and our bases in the region and our partners in the region. And all of our bases in the UAE, in Qatar, in Bahrain. And they also possess naval assets that threaten shipping and try to threaten the U.S. Navy. So I want everybody to understand that beyond just the nuclear program, they possess these conventional weapons that are solely designed to attack America and attack Americans if they so choose to do so. These things have to be addressed. The negotiations tomorrow and the talks tomorrow will be largely focused on the nuclear program. And we hope progress can be made, because that's the President's preference, to make progress on the diplomatic front. But it's also important to remember that Iran refuses to talk about the ballistic missiles, to us or to anyone. And that's a big problem.
Mr. Secretary, last night the President said that Iran was working to build missiles that will soon reach the U.S. Can you clarify if the U.S. assessment is Iran is actively seeking that capability?
Oh, yeah, yes. I mean,
how far away are they?
well, I won't speculate as to how far away they are, but they are certainly trying to achieve, and this is not new, they're trying to achieve intercontinental ballistic missiles. For example, you've seen them try to launch satellites into space. You've seen them increasing the range of the missiles they have now. And clearly they are headed in a pathway to one day being able to develop weapons that could reach the continental U.S. They already possess weapons that could reach much of Europe, already now, as we speak. And the ranges continue to grow every single year exponentially, which is amazing to me for a country that's facing sanctions, whose economy is in tatters, whose people are suffering, and somehow they still find the money to invest in missiles of greater and greater capacity every year. This is an unsustainable threat.
There was a DIA assessment report that said that if they chose to pursue this, that they would be able to develop these missiles that could reach the U.S. by 2035. Is that still?
Well, I won't comment on assessments or anything that the intelligence community says. Suffice it to say that it's a threat. We can see that it's possible. We saw North Korea do it. We've seen other countries do it in the past. And we would, view that as a grave threat to the United States. But already now they possess missiles that threaten American interests. As we speak, they possess thousands of short-range ballistic missiles that can reach U.S. bases located in the region, in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, in Bahrain, in the United Arab Emirates, throughout the region. It's a threat that exists already.
Is tomorrow the last chance for diplomacy, Mr. Secretary? If you don't reach a deal with Iran, is diplomacy off the table?
I don't think diplomacy is ever off the table. The President wants diplomatic solutions. He prefers them. He prefers them greatly. He wants that more than anything else. So I wouldn't characterize tomorrow as anything other than the latest in a set of conversations, and hopefully they're productive. But eventually, we'll have to have conversations about more than just the nuclear program. But if you can't even make progress on the nuclear program, it's going to be hard to make progress on the ballistic missiles as well. So I wouldn't characterize tomorrow as anything other than the next opportunity to talk.
Could you just clarify the President? The President said, Iran just has to say we will never have a nuclear weapon. Is the question really then? Just clarify the President. The President said, Iran just has to say we will never have a nuclear weapon. Is the question really them saying we will never have a weapon, or is it saying we will never enrich? They say they reserve the right to enrich uranium, but they're not going towards a weapon. So
well, let me put it to you this way. If, in fact, what you're interested in is a peaceful nuclear program, you can do it like most of the countries in the world do it, which is they have above-ground reactors and they import the fuel. We have deals now to do that with countries. If what they really wanted was energy from, they could do small modular reactors, which is something that's quite affordable and achievable for a lot of countries. But when you say we want to enrich, and we want to enrich deep underground, and you have a history in the past of enriching to 20 and even 60%, plus you're building missiles that could potentially carry warheads, that doesn't sound to me like someone who's a country that's not interested in building weapons. So it's not just the rhetorical, it's the actions that back the rhetoric, which we simply haven't seen.
you're looking for a commitment to zero enrichment.
Well, they don't need to enrich in order to have nuclear energy. They don't need nuclear energy, by the way. They have plenty of natural gas. But if they wanted nuclear energy, they could have it the way other countries have it. The fact that they refuse to get it that way, the fact that they insist not just on enrichment, but on enrichment in locations located inside of mountains is, I think you would have to lack common sense to not know what that means or what that could mean.
Democrats came away from the Group of Eight meeting kind of sounding alarmed by what they heard and saying that you guys need to make more of a case for why the U.S. should go to war with Iran.
Well, I don't comment about Gang of Eight briefings. There were various topics that were discussed. I don't comment on them. That's why we do them in a classified setting. I don't think anyone should leave those meetings talking about anything or even characterizing them. At least that's the way we handled it when I was on the Gang of Eight. Perhaps that's changed. But generally, that said, just outside of the Gang of Eight briefing, yeah, what's happening with Iran is very concerning. It's been very concerning for 40-something years. And it's become increasingly concerning as they've increased their weapon capabilities. So I don't think that's a mystery to anyone, that Iran is a deep concern. Multiple administrations have confronted this threat. The threat has simply grown over time in terms of how they've been able to extend the reach of their missiles and their insistence, their blind insistence on being able to enrich in these hidden locations make you even more uncomfortable. But look, let's see what happens tomorrow. Maybe something good will come of it.